A little system that I see quite often. There's something called the trending typo trick, and this talks a little bit about that. Number one, say a provocative thing. Draw negative press. Number two, make a blatant typo in a tweet and trend. Number three, rinse and repeat. Now, tell me, what was in the news 2 weeks ago? Leave me a comment below with what was in the news 2 weeks ago, if you remember. And that's the point, that our media cycles are so fast, we're getting so much information, and our attention is so now limited through we no longer have to wait around. We have instant gratification culture. We don't have the deferral of these things as much. We don't have deferred gratification, delayed gratification as a virtue. We now have to keep up with the news. We can't get off the internet for even a week sometimes without missing a swath of stories that are important to us, or not important, but we may judge them to be important to us because they might be part of the culture. You might need to catch up. But Trump will say a provocative thing, and he'll draw the ire and attention of the news. They'll come out and use Cunningham's Law and tell him everywhere that he was wrong. And sometimes, because he's cognizant of this, now I'm not mind reading or projecting, but it seems pretty obvious at this point. Most people will agree. And this is not just Trump that does this, but a number of people will say the wrong thing intentionally. I've done it. Say the wrong thing intentionally. Cunningham's Law. The best way to get to the answer is to say the wrong one. Say the wrong answer, and people will jump at the opportunity to prove to you that they have the right one. And people will come out of the woodwork and say, no, you're wrong. You are wrong. And they'll come out with you with the right answer, and that way you kind of don't have to be right all the time. You can just make sure you're monitoring what people are saying and the feedback they're giving you, and all of a sudden you're on the right path again. And President Trump has done this. He publicly A/B tests quite a bit. Again, I can only speculate based on the observations that I'm making. I'm not mind reading or projecting the president. But he says provocative things and draws negative press. And it trends and things happen. And more, whatever he put that provocation on, whatever he, spun a certain way to make it more sticky for people, to be persuaded to interact with it. Whatever he did, it's probably something he wants you to see. He's a king of publicity. He knows he might be the most publicized human being in history by far, perhaps never to be ever beaten in that category. He's a very, very public person. We know more about Trump than we know about most media figures. So the other thing he does is what I call the trending typo trick. Make a blatant typo in a tweet and trend. Now, I'm not saying that every Trump typo or every typo that people make is by any means intentional. Again, we can't read minds. But sometimes you see the pattern. It's so blatantly obvious. The characters weren't near each other on the keyboard or on the typing device, whatever you're using. There's no chance that it could have been an accident. It is a deliberate typo. And those typos trend. Trending typo trick. Trending typo trick. They trend, and people see whatever underlying content there was with that story. So say, for example, something important happens with the military, or something happens very important with healthcare. Anything that Trump or any individual using the trending typo trick wants you to see is its signal is amplified by the typo, because people are making fun of it, and inadvertently perhaps, or they understand the nature of publicity and persuasion, they are amplifying that signal, and they're spreading around something that some people will just look at the joke, the typo, and go, the president of the United States is a dumb idiot. He's evil and he's dumb. Ha ha ha. That's a typo. They might do that, and they might be right. It might just be a honest typo, or it could be a TTT, trending typo trick. And that way, you get that information out, you get that messaging out in a more effective manner. And of course, rinse and repeat. This happens again and again and again. Media cycles, they go from who knows how long they are now, 24 hours, 12 hours, 3 days. But essentially every 2 weeks, I've been saying for a month now, World War III was a month ago. Did you know that? Right now it's February 1st, 2020. World War III was a month ago. Did you know that? Because frankly, you wouldn't know, because we had a little bit of a conflict with Iran that's still ongoing, but we killed Soleimani and things happened with the U.S. Embassy, and we're still waiting for results on the Middle East peace plan. There's a brand new idea for Middle East peace involving Israel and Palestine, and I have taken a white pill approach on this. I'm not saying it's going to work out. I'm not saying it's a good plan or a bad plan, but I'm saying that it's a plan. It's something to think about, to put on the table, a big ask, if you will, that can be used. But the thing is, though, I couldn't tell you what was in the news 2 weeks ago. It's one of the reasons I make these tweet videos very time travel-y. They're time travel. I go back 9, 10 months and talk about stuff that happened 10 months ago so you remember it. Otherwise, it's all just memory being an illusion. We only remember things based on the emotions we felt or the image, or there's a lot of different things that cloud what the true memory was. So I like to bring people back up to speed. But again, things are moving so fast that we can't take too much time on something that happened 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. We've got to stay up with what's happening right now. And that's challenging. And we just don't have the mental space sometimes to balance it all. So it's good to have a reminder of just how cyclical this all is.